like genuinely reinforcing that by helping them understand that I care about what they get and that this is going to help them. It's amazing how much more they're comfortable spending when they know that you're on their side. The next thing I want to talk about here is changing your mindset. Again, I talked about this earlier, but you need to think bigger and you will close bigger. Again, I thought ultimate sets were a big deal. And that's, again, why I didn't sell any of them. I was like, oh my gosh, who can afford an ultimate set? But the second I started to think that, you know, everyone should own an ultimate set. You know, if you believe every customer would use an ultimate set, then you're going to sell more of them. It doesn't get much more complex than that. Again, I firmly believe that every customer, I don't care how much they cook, would use an ultimate set. Now, are they going to buy it? No. And I'm willing to admit that. But I think they would use it, for sure. They may not admit that, but when they have that confidence, and I'll talk about confidence here, and then asking the question, how many? They just bought a homemaker set. Do you want to go ahead and get that? Yeah, how many? You never know. Doesn't hurt to ask, right? During SC2, I had a demo with Cindy Westbrook. She was looking at the flatware. I was upgrading her from like a starter set to a homemaker set. I asked her, taught her, I went through the flatware approach, which we'll learn later, which is money, by the way. Went through the flatware approach, like a $1,700 order. And I'm like, hey, Cindy, so like, how many people do you have over at your like get-togethers? She's like, oh, I don't know, I got a lot of the grandkids. How many grandkids? And I knew this because we talked about her family a little bit. I knew she had a big family. Like, Cindy, do you really think that 12 place settings is going to be enough? No, you know that you think about it, probably not. I'm like, hey, why don't we just add a second one? Do you think that would be enough? Do you think like, you know, 24 might cut it at least for now, and then you've got your table knives up there in your block? She's like, you know, that's probably a good idea. Yeah, cool, let's go ahead and add that to the order. And she was like, yeah, sure. But I was confident, and she could tell I was on her side. But I didn't treat it like a big deal. It was just cool. Yeah, let's go ahead and get that. If not, no big deal. And it wasn't a big deal, and it shouldn't be. It's gonna be a big deal to her though, because she's gonna have those flatware sets forever. And so again, how many is huge. Use that all the time. Mrs. Jones, while I write that up, let's look at accessories. Ice cream scoops, how many? Now, the next thing is asking the right questions. Now, how many is a great question to ask, but asking other questions too. Who does the cooking? The more you know about your customers, as I mentioned before, I knew she had a big family. I knew that one flatware chest wasn't gonna cut it. I mean, it cuts it great. Those knives had the double the edge, and I'm sorry we don't sell those right now. But at the same time, I knew about her family. I knew about who she was, so I was able to ask the right questions because I asked questions previously. You know, who does the cooking? Do you cook because you have to, you like to, you love to? How many times a week do you cook? So I can justify that by explaining these other pieces. You know, if she doesn't cook a whole lot, great, Mrs. Jones, do you like to wash dishes? Oh, you don't? Okay, now she's gonna use an ultimate set because now she needs a couple chef knives so she doesn't have to wash them as frequently. I don't care if she only cooks 2 times a week. Great, now you have to do dishes like twice a week. That's fantastic. Now, do you garden? Soraya, some of you might have heard that demo. I talked to her for literally 15 minutes about gardening. Do you think she walked out of that demo without adding garden tools to her set? She already had a homemaker. She still ended up buying $1,200 worth of gifts for herself. You know, and so again, asking these right questions. Do you host parties? How many people come over? Do you barbecue? Of course, hunting and fishing knives are kind of out of the question, but they'll be back soon. You know, asking those questions. Ask about what they do for work. If I know they own a business, then you know I'm talking about business gifts. Building that list as big as possible. And it starts with, and moving along that line, starting higher. The higher you start, the higher you're gonna finish. The more questions you ask, the more things you can add to that list, the more she's gonna buy. My record, I feel like on a wish list, it was around $14,000 wish list. We had enough things on the list to put down $14,000 worth of stuff. Now, of course, she didn't buy all 14,000, but the fact that I got her to write down that she would use $14,000 worth of stuff, I find that like, I love that. That's like a point of pride for me. And you should feel that way too. Like you should feel proud because you're helping your customers understand that they don't have to get this stuff today. Again, that line is money. Mrs. Jones, if Cutco was falling from the sky, handles first, of course, sheets on, and you had to go out there and grab whatever you could use before your friends, what would you add to the list? If you could add anything to your list that you would use or give as a gift in the next 10 minutes, 10 years, 10 decades, what would you put down? It's just a wish list, Mrs. Jones. And helping her realize that. Again, the higher you start, the higher you finish. Now, start where you're comfortable. That's what I will tell you. If you're only comfortable showing the homemaker set, come to more alliance meetings, come to more meetings like this, get comfortable selling the stuff. But start where you're comfortable and then work up from there. Now, when you're dropping down on a wish list, it's important to drop down slowly as well. Take your time. You spent all this time building it up. It doesn't make sense to just, push yourself down the stairs in 5 minutes. The drop down process should honestly take more than the presentation part itself. You should spend more time with your customer, because if you just rush down that drop down section, they're going to feel like you're just trying to pressure them into an option and that you don't really care about what they're getting because you're speeding through it. You're just trying to finish, just trying to close, and they don't feel that sincerity. So take your time on that. If you're going to hurry the first part. Don't rush it, but if you're to take time on any portion of your demo, take time on the drop down. Before you move on to another option, you need to make sure that you understand the real reason that they are saying no before you move on to the next option. I'm going to say that again. Before you move to the next option, you need to make sure that you understand the real reason that they're saying no before you move on to the next option, using the objection cycle.
Hey, Nick, is there we're seeing only one slide right now, start higher.
Mm-hmm.
Are you still on that slide?
I am.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure. Okay, cool. So drop down on the like list is not another slide that we're missing. Okay, cool.
No, it's all part of.
Just making sure. Okay, cool.
Closing bigger. So
sometimes I make the mistake and it didn't forward or whatever.
No, you're good. So again, asking them, Mrs. Jones, if I understand you correctly, you just think the homemaker says just a little bit too much money for the budget right now. Is that what I get? Oh, you do? Okay, hey, no worries, Mrs. Jones. That's why most people just split it up over 5 months. Interest free, it's only this. I don't care if it's a $6,000 order. Mrs. Jones, that's why most customers just split it up over 5 months. Over 5 months, that's only like $1,200, $1,300, whatever it is. Just helping them understand the real reason. If it's too much money, then just understand that first and don't rush through it. And the bigger lists you build, again, the bigger sets you'll close. The next thing here is handling common objections. And of course, the best way to do that is before they come up. How do you do that though? And it's asking the right questions during the presentation. It's way easier to do it beforehand. Now, if you show them the importance, of all the tools in the set, then you should never hear it's too many knives. If you do an effective value section and you show them that they would use every single knife. Mrs. Jones, what would you use your blank for? Oh, you'd use it for this? Oh, cool, awesome. What else would you use it for? Okay, it's used for this, this, and this. Mrs. Jones, what would you use your butcher knife? Oh, you're not sure? Oh, do you ever sometimes maybe cut up, by the way, that line, do you ever sometimes maybe, they can't really say no to that. Of course they ever sometimes maybe do something. Do you ever sometimes maybe cut up watermelons or cantaloupes, or you ever split open squash, like acorn butternut spaghetti, anything like that? Have you ever done that? Oh yeah, okay, that's when you'd use your butcher knife. Cool, do you see what you'd use your butcher knife for? Your butcher knife for? Again, it's a simple thing, but people, I feel like a lot of the times we forget to use those every time. As we're dropping down, as you're building that list, as you're building it huge, helping them understand the value of every piece. And the husband clause, making sure that they understand the 15-day money-back guarantee. I always ask the question, before I ever talk about the money-back guarantee, I always ask the question, Mrs. Jones, would you agree that the best way to know if you like something would be to try it? How can she say no to that? Like once I've heard a no, I'm like, oh, okay, and just moved on. But like 99% of the time it's, yeah, of course, why wouldn't it be the best way to, cool. That's why we have our 15-day money-back guarantee. So if, that way you can try out Cutco risk-free for 15 days, which by the way, 15 business days is like 3 weeks. You can really see the value. Also, Phil's line, Mrs. Jones, you buying Cutco today is 10 times better than anything I could ever say to you, and 100 times better than anything you could ever say to your husband. If he doesn't love it, just send it back. You can get a full refund. Straight money right there.
Was it again?
Mrs. Jones, you buying Cutco today is 10 times better than anything I could say to you, and 100 times better than anything you could ever say to your husband. So if he doesn't love it, just send it back and you get a full refund.
Just to clarify, it's you trying it out for 3 weeks
There we go.
is 10 times better than anything I'm going to say to you and 100 times better than anything you're going to say to your husband. Trying it out for 3 weeks.
And by the way, do you guys know that if they buy a homemaker set and they're unsure about certain pieces, that they could just send back those pieces and not have to send back the whole set? Yeah, oh, Mrs. Jones, you're unsure about the homemaker set and you're thinking about the galley. Hey, well, I know you really like the home, or you're kind of on the edge about the homemaker and the galley seems like a better fit. Tell you what, if you just went ahead and got the homemaker set and you really wouldn't use that butcher knife from the carving set, just send back those pieces and they'll refund you on those ones specifically. You can just keep the rest. And then they could even call customer service and they'd send them a galley block and then they wouldn't even take back their homemaker block until the galley block arrived and they would just mail that get back in so the knives are housed properly. Like, Cutco's customer service is phenomenal. Okay. Explaining the 5-pay again, you should never hear it's too much money. If you explain the 5-pay properly, yeah, maybe the total price may be a lot, but here's the thing, if Mrs. Jones buys an all knife set in full, she could afford a homemaker on a 5-pay. If someone doesn't put it on the 5-pay, they probably don't understand the 5-pay properly. Okay, they need to understand that there's no background checks, no credit checks, no interest, no BS. It's amazing. Why wouldn't they put it there? I had a lady, she ordered she just had a bunch of, like a business gift order or something like that. It was like a $5,000 order just the other month. And she was like, wait, I can split that up with interest free. She could afford it in full. But she's like, yeah, we'll just split it up. It's interest free. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, let's just do that. It's easier. Because people budget on a monthly basis. So if you're not promoting that 5-pay, you are losing CPO. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is the next tool in your set versus the next piece. When explaining the pieces, the next tool in your set. Set is a key word. You need to say set as many times as you can in the presentation. Set, set, set. We sell sets. If you say we sell sets, you sell sets. We don't sell pieces. We can sell pieces, but we sell sets. So focus on sets. You'll sell more of them. And then again, build bigger wish lists. People buy, when you're handling objections, people buy, they don't buy because they understand. They buy because they feel understood. So when you understand with them, Mrs. Jones, I completely understand. Using the objection cycle, I completely understand. You may be hesitant to spend that money on knives right now, but honestly, like a lot of my customers have felt the same way, and yet they, down the road, 40 years from now, they're still using those same knives and they never have to sharpen them. So I promise you're gonna love it. And if you don't, just send it back on the 15-day money-back guarantee and you get a full refund. So what do you say? Do you want to go ahead and buy those knives and never have to buy them ever again? Cool. Classic or Pearl. Credit or debit, whatever, And so helping them that way. And the next thing I want to talk about here is knowing your product. The more you know your products, the more you can help them understand how they would use them, because you can't sell what you don't know. Again, come to the alliance meetings. Come to Champs Club, come to team meeting, come to every opportunity you can to hone your craft, to learn about Cutco. Go to Cutco.com, listen to Vector Connect Talks, find out as much as you can about the products, because the more that you know about what you're selling, the more you're gonna sell. Use your knives. Who here has fast start prices? A couple of you, if you don't have your fast start prices, order them, make your manager do it, and then play with your knives. I was raised to like never play with my knives. Like mom always said, Nick, don't play with knives. And she was probably like understandable in that request, she was like, I was a pretty rebellious kid. Either way, that night I broke her $100 paring knife in the garden one day and she was pissed because I was playing with it as a shovel. Either way, it wasn't Cutco, it was crap. And so what I'm saying though is play with your knives, use them every day. The more you love your product, the more your customers will see that, okay? The more you're passionate about your product, the more they're gonna buy. Now, and you need to have fun with it. I had a customer, the Baileys, and some of you may have heard this story before. The Baileys, where the husband just lost his job. The wife was teaching English lessons online just to pay, keep food on the table at the time. Husband was starting a startup. And the money was tight. Went through all the options. Long story short, they ended up buying an all-knife set. Husband pulled me aside, wife had to walk away, and he's like, Nick, I want you to know that the reason that we're buying this set today is because we can genuinely feel that you are passionate about the product that you're selling, and that this is something you feel will really bless our lives. He didn't have a job. There was no income except the wife's like part-time teaching thing, right? But because he knew that he could feel that I knew that this would help him, they bought it. And I'm thinking to myself, geez, man, I'm just reading my manual and having fun. But at the same time, I knew enough about my products to help him see that. Now, if you love Cutco, you're going to sell more of it. And then confidence. So the second to last thing is confidence. Confidence in a couple things. Confidence in yourself, the price, the product, the process, the customer's ability to afford it, and the ask. Okay, you need to have confidence in all these areas. Confidence in yourself. You are freaking awesome. Believe it. Act like it. Okay, we wouldn't have hired you if you weren't going to be good at this job. All right, we wouldn't have not hired you. We wouldn't have accepted you for the position if you weren't going to be good, if we didn't think you could excel here and succeed. So you're awesome. Act like it. The price. Cutco should be more expensive. It really should. Why don't they charge more for it? Why? Because they care about our customers and they care about getting them a product, getting it into the people's hands that need it. Okay? Cutco should cost twice, 3 times, 4 times as much, and people would still buy it. People would still buy it. So again, you need to be confident in the price and then confident in the product. Cutco is freaking amazing. Again, use it. Use it a lot. Play with it. Cut stuff up. It's freaking incredible. I to this day, I've been doing this job a year and a half, and there is not a time that I grab a spatula spreader or a trimmer and I don't think to myself, this is a paring knife. This is a trimmer. And I don't think to myself like, holy freaking crap, this stuff is amazing. Like I was cutting through a bell pepper for lunch and I'm like, this is incredible. Like I'll use the table knives. I'll grab these things and go nuts with these things on food just here in the office. And I get stoked about the product that we get to sell. That it's amazing. Like seriously, you guys have the best product in the world. There's nothing that I would rather sell. Me and Jesse were talking about this not even 2 days ago. He's like, Nick, do you think you'd still be here if we had a different product? And I thought about it for a second, and I honestly can't really say that I would. Cutco is so easy to sell, and it's such an amazing thing that you're doing for people. So again, act like it. It's incredible. Have passion. And then the next thing is the process. Do not skip steps. Everyone falls victim to this, at least at some point. Don't let it happen again. Don't skip steps. You're shooting yourself in the foot. Have you ever tried to jump down a staircase? Doesn't end well. Okay? Step at a time. Okay? Don't skip steps. If you skip steps, every customer has so many times they have to say no. Again, start higher and don't skip steps. You're going to end higher. They have to say no so many times, and don't be afraid to ask. Customers' ability to afford it, they are going to spend that money anyways. Why not spend it on a product they're going to use for the rest of their life? They're going to spend it anyways, probably within the week. I don't care like what set you're selling them. I don't care how much CPO it is. Like if it's just anything there in the presentation, whether it be a homemaker or a signature set, they're probably going to spend that money on something that they don't need that month. Why not spend it on something they need? Be confident. They need it. And then the ask. Seriously, guys, don't be a wimp. Like just for lack of a better term, grow some balls and ask for the order. Like just don't let them, don't feel like you're pressuring them. You're not. You told them at the start they don't have to buy anything. Just let them know confidently, Mrs. Jones, do you want to go ahead and get that? The more confident you do, by the way, it's so much fun to soft close on people and just be like, so we have a homemaker set in the classic or the pro. What color do you like better? Cool. If you were considering a set of Cutco today, would you prefer the set with or without table knives? Oh, with table knives? Okay, cool. By the way, we have a couple of different block options. Do you prefer the like darker cherry color or the lighter honey oak? A darker cherry. Hey, great choice. Cool. Did you want to pay for that with a credit or a debit card? Oh, debit? Okay, awesome. Cool. While I write that up, let's look at accessories. Do you know how good that feels when you can ask that confidently? It's amazing. Try it sometime. You never know what's going to happen. But you have to have confidence.
Try it 50 plus times during the push.
Again, and if they say no, no worries, Mrs. Jones. We got another set I think would be a better fit for you. Can I show you that? I get paid to do it anyways. Just act confident. The more you act confident, the more you will be confident. Okay, people have the money to spend. They're gonna spend it either way. Why not on Cutco? And then the last thing I wanna touch on here, bonus points. Now I don't have a lot of time. I'm not gonna teach you how to do bonus points. If you don't know what bonus points are, go to Champs Club. Go to the leadership meetings. Like seriously, come here. This is where we need to teach them, is in meetings like this, again, or at advanced training. If you haven't gone to advanced training, you're missing out. Like, holy cow. Bonus points, the better you get at bonus points, the more you're gonna sell. The fact that when you can take a list of things and you can look at it and get practice doing math quickly and saying like, okay, this is how much they cost. This is what everything on the list. I know I can give this, 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 and this for free. Probably only gonna give this and this for free. And then if she says no to that, I'm gonna give this and this and this for free. And then we have a little bit of wiggle room here that I can use this for free for referrals. Like the better you get at bonus points, just takes practice. The more you're gonna close. That is one of the reasons why I'm able to help my customers as much as I did during SC2, is because I could whip out bonus points right and left because I practiced them every single day. Every day. We had bonus point workshops almost every single day where I was practicing every time, and I got better. I wasn't always great. I screwed up bonus points for the first 6 months on the job. Ask Jesse. I was doing them wrong. I don't know how I was still rolling orders. It worked somehow, but hey, I was doing them wrong. And eventually I started learning how to do them better, and I started closing more. Bonus points are key. Guys, these are the keys that I have for you. I hope that helps. Closing is so much fun. Again, if you can show the right people, you build rapport, have the right attitude, ask the right questions, start higher, handle objections. Sorry. Shut up, Siri. Know your names and looses, and have confidence.
That happened the other day.
You're gonna sell more. Okay, so awesome. Go out and crush it, and then let's learn how to sell some more.
All right, let's give him a hand. That was awesome. That was great.